Now, before we get into it, just a heads up. I am not a mental health professional. What I share here is based on personal experiences and opinions. If you are dealing with a serious mental health crisis, you need to speak to someone immediately. Reach out to a professional. They know exactly what to do to help you. The information and advice that I give are for general insights, not a substitute for personal help. Please understand that your choices are your own. Now, let's do this journey together and remember, it's all about personal growth. Now, let's get into today's episode. Welcome to another episode of Becoming a Butterfly podcast, the place where it is never too late to become your better self. I'm your host, your girl, your friend, Christina Butterfly, also known as Christy the Artist. And today we're going to dive right in. We're going to talk about navigating life transitions fearlessly. Okay? Chance just change is the only thing that we know is going to constantly be consistent. But here's the real deal. It's all about mastering those moves as we break down 5 points or 5 steps, but thrive when life throws those curveballs. All right, so step 1 is embrace change as growth. Okay? When I first started realizing that I was changing my life, it's like I woke up one day and was in a whole new world. Like I was the same, but I didn't think the same. I didn't feel the same. I just wanted so much more. And I felt like I done wasted enough time. There was a point in my life where I felt like I was just a failure. Point out period of failure. I never went to graduated from high school. Every time I tried to go back, it was so complicated. Didn't understand that my dyslexia took such a huge part in how I learned. And so it just was easier for me to teach myself. And the crazy thing is that I'll be in school and I'll get whatever the teacher is teaching, and I'll take the test. And I don't even pass that test. But when they came to the big test, failed them every single time. It was because my brain couldn't retain all the information at one time. So after a while, you just feel like you look up, are you a teen mom? I'm a drug addict. It was just so many things that I could just keep saying that I did not accomplish, But then I had to really look back and see what I was grateful for. And to understand that all those things that I was going through, they were obstacles. And they were meant for me to overcome it. It was meant for me to soar past it. Who's to say one day when I get into a complete financial situation where I can finally be at the mindset to really be able to focus and hire somebody who can help me really be able to take my test and get that diploma. I'm not saying that it's something I would never want, but I can absolutely say that it's not the most important thing to me. So it is, and that sometimes there was a time, if you probably look at a few podcasts, there was a time, especially, my lives on Facebook. If you want to see them, go check them out on Facebook. But there are times when I can really be like, I don't even really care about it. To be honest with you, my mother's a teacher. She's an educator, and she's the one who really, really, and if it would be any reason for me to do it, is for my mama, because I know how important it was for me to get 4 diplomas for my children. And it was really just to make the next years of their life easier and not go through all the hardship that I went through. And I didn't want my children to go through all the hardships that I have gone through. However, I just had to realize, and even understanding the obstacles that my kids are going through. One of the reasons why I want to move away is because I can't turn off that mom button. I don't, I'm sure some people can. I don't know. My mama can't. You feel what I'm saying? And so the way I grew was to separate. And for my sons, having both my sons being an adult, my oldest son being 25, there's a lot of skills that I feel like he will not get if I'm no longer an option. You feel what I'm saying? And there places where I need to go in life, because I've been a mother since I was 16, I really need to stand on me and find out exactly who I am. And I can't do it in the environment that I currently live in right now. I had raised my kids in the environment that they live in. I had put them in a home and in an area that was more conducive to a peaceful mind. Even though I'm in Trenton, I found an area where it's really peaceful right where we at. I just try to stand on that and know that I gave them everything I could possibly give them, and I gotta go get my life. You feel what I'm saying? This next half of my life is about not just growing me and finding out exactly what I'm meant to be, meant to do, and how far I can take this thing, but also take as many as my people with me who's ready to break free from the status quo. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all got to forgive me. This head is so heavy. This hair, but I know it's going to loosen up and I'm going to get used to it. So it's just really bracing the fact that anything you are currently going through or you have going through, especially if you currently going through something, look at the things you've already overcome and remind yourself that if I've overcome that ish, I'm going to overcome this. I might feel like breaking down right now. I might feel like going up in a corner. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to look at nobody. I don't want nothing but my bed. Understand that you've been through worse. And if this feels like the worst it can possibly be, then this only other place you can go is up. And I know that sounds like such a cliche, but it's so very true. Once you decide that it's enough, reaching out for help is the only other option you got. And once you do that, there's no other thing but to happen, but for you to come up and soar. If you watch my other podcasts, I will tell you, your girl landed in Trenton without a pot to piss in, a window to throw it out of, and nobody even tell the story to. Okay? And today I am in my home that I've been in for a little over 10 years. So when I tell you I know, honey, listen. And if you're really not sure, listen. I'm sure by the time this episode be released, I have already did my live talking about my story, my journey. So you can go back and look on it. It's my very first YouTube live. Just really going in on how did I get to the place where I felt like I can go ahead and start this podcast and talk to the people and uplift and encourage the people, because a person's origin story gives a lot of context on why a person feels like, you know what, I can't listen to her. Maybe she has something that can help me get to where I need to be in life. Okay, so let's keep that in mind, guys. We can all each reach out, teach each other, and love each other. So embrace change as growth. See those transition and opportunities to step up your game and hustle harder. Real talk. You need to see it that way and understand that once I got myself together spiritually, okay, and started working on me and whatever that looks like for you. But once I decided to really horn in on me and God and understand where am I aligned at, what is my purpose, what is my destiny. And the truth is that it became more clear to me when I went and got my reading done. Okay, and it aligned to everything I was feeling, but I couldn't put it into words, and it made so much sense once I had it done. Okay, so those transitions. See those shifts that what you're going through. I don't care where you at in life. You in a shelter, you about to go into a shelter. Look at it like now I'm the closest I've ever been to my own. Look at this as a transition, because you think a shelter is a cultural shock. Just moving out of your home and moving straight into a home that you lived in for years, that you have not had to be worried about bills. You ain't had to worry about taking care of anything on your own. Straight into a crib that now all of a sudden you got to be completely responsible for everything. And don't do it if you already have kids, because now you got to figure out how, because before you was able to take care of your children and manage dealing with your kids, buying them everything they need, from their clothes to their shoes was this size this week, and now it's 3 inches bigger next week. You just bought these brand new shoes that now all of a sudden can't fit no more, but you still got to pay your light and gas bill, and let alone understand that your rent is uno. This is like the number one top of the list. Like, you can't get over that, y'all. It's a lot, and it can be overwhelming sometimes. You feel what I'm saying? But know that if you start aligning yourself up with God, things just start happening. Blessings start happening. But it's not that they just start happening. It's that you have to learn to listen and do that your intuition, your instincts, your gut is telling you, yo, go in this direction. And especially if it don't make sense. Especially if it only makes sense to you. If it only makes sense to you, you need to lean into it. Because then that is a doorway that you are supposed to be opening. And but not listening, you're not opening that door, and somebody behind you who's supposed to come through that same door can't come through because you chose not to open the door, because you don't want to listen to that thing inside you because you're scared. So make sure you understand it's so important to line yourself up to whatever you believe is that spiritual connection. Okay? Once you do that, embracing them opportunities, it be right in front of you. Get hustling spirit. I have never been on fire to do work and so much. I got so much work to do, and I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I went from I immersed myself in my art so I can get that mindset of being productive during the day, because I wasn't doing that. And I've been on Social Security since I was 26. I might have had 3 jobs since I was 26. Prior to that, I always had a job. But since I was 26 years old, so I had to build that muscle, and I used my art to do that. I used me having things forcing me real deep, integral things. I wasn't even creating quick art to sell real quick. And I would be like so frustrated because I'm like, yo, I'm making this intricate artwork that's completely in details. I'd have put like 1 million rhinestones on something, because I'm using one individual at a time and just watching my brain just work. This one bottle can take up to a month and a half to complete. But it allowed me to show myself how to put my mindset in that productivity work. Now, when I get to the point when I can merge the two, I'm telling you, but this right here, this is my mission. My purpose in life is to be a creative. My purpose in life is to be an artist. But my mission into life is to heal your heart, to heal your mind, so that you can be able to make these changes in your life and go through obstacles with zero fear. Just looking at it like, you know what? And I promise you, I know it's possible. That's how it initiated me starting my podcast even quicker than I planned on starting, because I was going through a dramatic situation that normally would have sent me on a mental tailspin. And instead, I decided to reprogram my mindset on how I was going to look at the situation and choose to handle it differently. And it led to so many blessings, and it's still leading to different blessings. Please, I'm telling you, honey, and what your circumstance you're dealing with right now don't matter. Step 2 is cultivating resilience. Straight up, resilience is your superpower. In the jungle, period. growing up in the hood, if you don't learn that thick skin we talked about last week, it's so important to make sure that you know who you are. Growing a thick skin don't mean fighting everybody. Growing a thick skin is knowing exactly who you are and nobody can tell you different. Especially if you that one they call a weirdo, or you a nerd, or you a geek, or you that. If you think about it, I know me. If I think about all the kids in school that they call nerds, geeks, and weirdos, are somewhere off making some money. So there's no point of even allowing that to penetrate you. Get them and laugh. And if you that one who tried to fit in the crowd for many years, which was me, who tried to go along with the get along gang, listen, I'm the one to tell you, Gemini is a mutable sign. I can go ahead in any environment. I can transform and adapt to any environment. That can be an amazing thing and it can be a detrimental thing. You understand me? Because now I'm no longer focusing on the direction of where I'm supposed to be going. Now I done detoured to a whole different direction, and now I got to figure my way back on the path. And sometimes that can take years. Sometimes that can take years of your life. So instead of doing all that, make conscious decisions, making purposeful decisions, and saying, you know what, been there, done that, not doing that no more. And if that means it's a period of time of isolation, then that's just what have to be. I've been isolated for almost 10 years. And let me tell you, okay, I love the club life. I was in a motorcycle club, still love to be affiliated with them. Like, that was my life. That was absolutely my life. Do you understand me? Girlfriend was out. I had somewhere to go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Do you understand me? But I had to go through a period of isolation, of incubation, and every time I tried to jump out, buck out, get wild, God was like, nope, we're going to remove these. We're not even going to allow people to remember you. I'm not even going to to understand that he wasn't even allowing people to remember me, not to think about me, not to have. I needed to be clear and understand who is Christina. How did I know that my name would morph into Christina Butterfly? Because I had to become that butterfly. Other than that, I would have stayed Christina forever. Do you understand? I got to ride with a different light on me, and I can't allow anybody to dim it no matter how hard it is for them to look at it. That's not my job. My job is to convince somebody to put on some sunglasses so they can understand and see too that this light belongs to them too. I'm no different than anybody else. I just chose to elevate, to walk into that dimension that I felt like I was supposed to be in. And I do work. And that work consists of going to therapy if you need to. To be able to build that resilience, it consists of you needing to go to therapy. Go talk to somebody who is paid to listen, to not only listen to your problems, but to give you legitimate advice. My therapist I go to, we have goals. She writes down the goals that I want to achieve. And as I achieve these goals, they get marked off. I'm soaring through these goals, y'all. Soaring through these goals. Blowing myself away. Standing on what I believe and hold it on tight and saying, hold it, this is what it is. Cultivate resilience is step 2. Step 3. Create a squad that got your back. Did you hear me clearly? Create a squad. Create your peoples. Create your community that support you and have your back. Your sister and brother don't support you, don't include them in this part of your life. They will see the transition. And this is something, let me tell y'all something. I am the oldest. I have 2 younger sisters. And let me be to heaven. I tell anybody, I pray for my family members because I am a bipolar, and it comes out as a teenager. You get diagnosed as bipolar disorder usually around as a teenager if somebody is up on it. I've been in therapy since I was 11 years old. My mother never shied away from therapy. She did not play that. As soon as she started seeing it transition and the shift, she got my ass a therapist. And so after my father died, I gave birth to my twins. I had this such mental break that I ended up in in a mental hospital. And it was the first time, and to be honest with you, the most scariest point of it is when I had a whole breakdown and I had to be strapped in a room and strapped to the bed. But learning to be able to talk about what I was going through freely without feeling judged was just unbelievable. But that was my journey in and out of hospitals until I was at least 30 years old. So it's something that I am very aware of, and understanding that I was very abusive to my sisters growing up, extremely abusive to them, and just doing things that was just mean and hateful until my younger sister right underneath me. And that put a wedge between us for many years. When I started doing the work on myself, really working on me, the energy shift. Now, I don't see my sisters every day. I don't talk to my sisters every day. When people notice that you are making a decision to be a better human being, you will start to realize that you ain't got to convince nobody or nothing. They will see it. The light, it's so bright that they can't help but to notice it's something different about you. I realized that my sister started seeing something different in me when she wanted to include me in family things and wanted to ask me if it was just like, oh, because in a lot of ways, my sister had to grow up past me. She had to make decisions as an older sister and move me out the way as if I didn't even exist. And it had a lot to do with it. I didn't have to make the mental capacity to be able to be an older sister. And then now you telling me I'm a mother. I had all these things combined. My dad gone, the parents now I'm the oldest, and all of a sudden they went from a 2-parent home to 1-parent home, and I gotta do what? No. Learning yourself, realizing what's good for you. Is the people around you feeding you? Or are you confusing to everybody else? If you are confusing to everybody else, you're in the wrong circle, and you got to go find your peoples. Most times your peoples is not in the community that you're currently in. Most time your peoples is in a community you got to go online and find. The beautiful thing that I love about YouTube is that you can go in and look to talk to somebody about this particular journey. And then you can look, and if they've been on there for a while, more than likely they have some type of access to a community for you to be able to join. Okay? But getting your squad together is important. And I would be honored to be a part of your squad. Surround yourself with tight-knit squad, mentors, homies, real ones, whoever you want to call them. Make sure that it's real, you feel what I'm saying? Because if not, you set yourself up to fail. You set yourself up to slide right back into the same mess. And I'm telling you, I was there. It wasn't until I isolated myself and really took my wellness serious. If I hadn't, I still would be talking about telling people how I'm about to start a podcast. Yo, I've been trying to start a podcast for years. Do you hear me? It wasn't until I just said, nix everybody else. No offense to anybody. No hard feelings to anybody. But I got to shut this. It's all about me. Period. And if you get offended, then you need to go be selfish too. If it offends you, then that means that you need to be going to get some selfishness. You need to be doing some inner work if that's how you feel. All right, so let's go to step 4. Setting clear goals, guys. Stay alive. Step 4. I had to really take this straight to heart for me. I really did. Productivity is not my strong suit. I am free. I'm an air sign. I'm okay. So being productive. Well, I hope y'all hear that. Trash truck outside. I hope y'all hear that. But being staying productive, I'm not good at the whole writing out, the whole journal, the whole daily, the whole day. I've learned to be able to do it for the month. The whole, this is what I'm focused on this week, this is what I'm focused on this week. Come the end of the day, write it. I just, now I'm working on it. I'm definitely working on it a lot better than I used to be. But in order for me to even make any directions in that way, for me to even be able to show up here consistently, to be able to pre-record my videos, to be able to get my scripts together, to be able to do the research, to do all that, I really had to embrace setting clear goals and staying aligned to it. Removing any and all distractions, including myself. I am a big distraction to myself. I get lost in watching YouTube. I'll get lost in watching something that's filling my mind, but it's also wasting my time. And so setting clear boundaries and saying, all right, Chrissy, I don't care what show you are watching at this time. It goes off. This is what you have to do. I don't care if it's about your growth, it's about your health. I don't care if it's about business, because that's all I watch. But now I got to transition into from that learning to work and learn, and understand that it's not a separate thing. I will always be learning, but I have to learn and go into action, not just learn. And so I force it on me. I force it on myself. But them goals, knowing when I set the date and realized everything was aligned up. I wanted my podcast to be on Thursdays, period, all along. I wanted it to be on Thursdays. When I realized the date that I wanted to be launched on was on a Thursday, because I wanted to honor my father, boom, I said, there's no way that the stars have aligned. And so I had to follow that. I got to follow that. I can't not believe that that's not a sign and a signal that this is my time. This is my season. You understand me? And so when you start to make clear goals and clear decisions, you will start to see how things will start aligning up to it being your time, your goals, your season. This is it right here. And if it doesn't, that means you got more work to do. See, that was another thing I had to learn, another lesson I had to learn. Because I started doing the work, honestly, I can say about 2 years ago. And then I kept feeling like I'm working for nothing. I don't find this to start this. Anything is not moving, it's not going, it's still not. I did not give up. And then one day, things just started clicking. And it's like, I can do this. I know I can do this. And when I sat and did my first podcast live, I knew from that day on. And let me tell you, most times I go on my live, a lot of people don't be on there. Most people catch my shorts and they comment and they catch the shorts of the live, which is absolutely fine to me, because you catch it now or later, long as you catch it, I don't care. You understand me? But it gave me that mindset of how to be able to really sit here and talk to this camera and feel like I'm talking to millions of people, because guess what? I'm talking to that very one who thinks that they cannot do it. Guess what? I'm going to tell you till you can't stand it. I'm going to tell you till I'm no longer on Social Security. I'm going to tell you till I no longer need food stamps to pay for my kids. I'm going to keep telling it till I don't need to tell it no more. I recently had to go to the food pantry because I still ain't get my stamps. It's such a humbling experience, and at the same time, amazing to see what the community is really doing for people, because I didn't get a bunch of mess. They had all kinds of fruits and vegetables. Shout out to Family First in Trenton, New Jersey. I was so humbly impressed to see. But guess what? If I wasn't doing the work, I could say, you know what? This is not my normal everything. I'm not always having to come here. But you always got to remember to listen, that humbleness, I don't want to ever think that I'm so big or doing something so transformative that, and yes, I said transformative, that I can't be humbled down to the reality of what I've gone through most of my life. Now, because I've learned to manage my food stamps better, And my kids started to get older and they had to start being able to provide. Listen, sir, you better hope you get 1 meal out of me, okay? You old enough to provide for yourself. I'll make sure some food in here, but I ain't got to cook it every day. You know those things? So now that they are getting older, I can manage it better. You feel what I'm saying? I don't feel the need that people who need it the most go to the pantries and get those things they needed. But go to the pantry and get those things that they needed. But I was thoroughly impressed. It felt like literally set up like a supermarket. You go up and down the aisles and they'll tell you how much you can get from each section. And I went around there, they had squash, they had fresh, are you serious? It was so refreshing to see and to look at. So, and if they can do that in the free, times is changing. We have to choose. We got to choose to make clear goals and go now, whatever that dream is. That 5 is prioritizing self-care and mindfulness. What I say. And okay, so I'm going to be real transparent. We're going to be real transparent. Being selfish about how I'm going to deal with me really building a business, really building this podcast to the point where I can be able to hire an editor, to be able to hire a producer, which will be more than likely my son. Shout out to Z Notes. He's my probably listening to some of his music behind the scenes a little bit as we speak. But yes, my son provides all of my background music because he is producer, beat maker, engineer, and it's my baby boy. But yeah, I want to get to that point. So for me, that was doing self-care. However, one of my biggest struggles is that pampering self-care. That really, taking yourself and going to the masseuse and all those things. And I believe it'll be a point in time where I'll be able to have the money to do that on a consistent. But my daughter bought me a foot massage, and I quite enjoy doing stuff myself. You know what I mean? Like, I'll do my own hair. I'll do, if need be, my own feet, my own gel, because I enjoy doing it. The problem is that I don't do it when I say I'm going to do it. I set this intention and this is the day I'm going to do it, and I'm not going to focus this. I'll go right back in what do the podcast need. And so I'm noticing that's where my intention is really horning in on. So I am going to have to do something like pick a day instead of putting so much pressure on me of being this day every single week, that for the next 3 months, I pick this one day in the next 3 months, which will probably be the 12th. Like I said before, like it's all about me. And I need to make that more solidified, that on the 12th of every month for the next quarter, I'm going to do, I don't care what it is, to set aside for me. And even if it's as much as taking myself to the movies, moving myself out of my home, and doing something that has nothing to do with the podcast, nothing to do with my kids, nothing to do with my home, because I incorporate cleaning up the self-care. And I know I want it to be completely separate from that. Just loving on me, So that is, what I can say is something I'm working on with my self-care. But I'm being mindful is something that I have to work on. Tell me something you need to work on. Put it in the comments. Let me know what is something that you need to build on, that you need to get stronger with. Something that you know that you got well aware that you need to fix. And you ain't get started yet. Because I ain't going to act like, I ain't get started on it yet. Not at all. But that's something we going to work on in January. That is something, and definitely on the 12th of January, I'm going to make it I'm going to make it a priority. I'm going to be mindfully making it a priority. Do something on January 12th, even if it's just taking myself to go see something at the movies by my loss. I am absolutely going to do it. Okay? And I'm going to put it up on my social media so you can see. Well, guys, listen, so much for joining me this week on Becoming a Butterfly podcast. I want you to know that I show up here every week because it's important to me to help my people overcome. I know where you at. I know where you've been through because I've been there. If not still going through the same things you are currently going through right now. And if I show up here and do this, you as well. Reach out to me. I would love to have you as a guest on my podcast. Absolutely. Reach out to me so we can talk. If you feel like shifted energy, you done did all this work to change your life, and you know where you have come from, reach out. Let's talk. Let's see if I have you a guest on my podcast. All right? I love you guys so very much. If you can be so kind to leave your if you can be so kind to like, subscribe. If this is your first time watching this podcast, please subscribe. This is only my 5th episode, so it will mean everything to me if you go ahead on back and watch from the first one to this one. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think I need to work on. I am not one of them who feel like I can't take any constructive criticisms. Now, if you're being rude and disrespectful, I'm just going to block you. I'm not even going to feed. But if you legitimately have something, to say, if you already a podcaster, you've been doing this thing, and you got some real legit advice for me, listen, I am open to listen and to hear with no problem. I know how to chew off what's for me and spit out the rest, okay? If you want to tell your butterfly story, oh my goodness, I would love to hear it. I would love to be able to uplift and encourage people from their stories as well. And even from your butterfly story, if it really is something so amazing that I gotta just have you on and hear the whole story, absolutely will reach out to you. If you have a question, if you're struggling through something right now and you think that I might be able to help, please write to me. And I promise I will give you the best advice I can possibly give you, okay? I love you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you this week. Oh, make sure you remember that I upload new videos every single Thursday. I go live every single Tuesday. Tuesday, I go live at 6 p.m. On Thursdays, new videos upload at 7 p.m. All right, guys, I love you so much. I know I say